at the Bryant Street Studios, Artist Studios in San Francisco. Let me just check if this is happening. And I'll do another Happy Saturday. Hi, 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 hi. Sound is on now. Is the sound on now? Yes. Okay. Happy Saturday once again. That was just finished watching our interview, Cello Joe and I, and we have a few more minutes, and Joe Lewis is coming on, supposedly, shortly. We shall see, but I'm looking at the Facebook if anybody has any questions to direct towards Cello Joe. I see Jonah is here. Jonah Kai is watching on Facebook. And a couple other people are watching. So actually, I might plug my gig today. I'm playing at a restaurant. We're doing every Saturday at Casements Bar on Mission Street here in San Francisco in the Mission District. It's a cool Irish restaurant and bar named after Roger Casement, who is a humanitarian and poet and kind of a civil rights leader and kind of a rabble-rouser, you know. Pretty cool guy. So I'll be playing there. We have a piano that our friends Mauro and Electra moved into the back patio there. A nice Yamaha upright piano. So Mauro's going to play a bit, and he does kind of like an avant tango kind of thing, you know, a little avant tango. And he does some poetry as well. So he'll do some of that. And Electra is going to play some Bach, some Johannes Sebastian Bach. And I think she might play a bit of Schumann. And then she and I are going to tackle a little Beethoven, a little Spring Sonata by Beethoven, or as some people say, Beethoven, a little Beethoven. And then a little Beethoven, and then a little Bartok, So that's going to be fun. I'm going to stream here on Facebook, so if you guys can't make it to the gig, you can watch us and critique our performance. I know that's fun for musicians to critique other musicians and make fun of other musicians. I find great pleasure in that myself, you know. And I'm sure if Joe Lewis was here, he would say, "Oh, I also love making fun of musicians. It's my favorite thing." No, just kidding. Joe Lewis is quite an upstanding guy, except I think he's probably going late. He was teaching lessons today. We'll bring him on another time. Anyway, so I'll give him a few more minutes. We have till 1:30 here. I might tell a story. And actually, I have a Cello Joe video that I could play. Maybe I'll play this Cello Joe video, which we did not get to before, which would alleviate me from rambling for the next little while, which is better. But I'll tell you actually next week, we're doing another chat, and our guest will be Allison Lovejoy, the Mission District's favorite pianist and accordionist. Fresh off her recording date with Ringo Starr. Peace and love, Ringo Starr. Allison Lovejoy, as well as my old friend Benjamin Gribble, who I was classmates with at San Francisco Conservatory. So they will be sharing our interview show next Saturday. So tune in for that. And also with this was episode 4, and I've been kind of going through and editing the previous videos, and those are all going up on our Classical Revolution YouTube channel. So those will be there for your perusal at your convenience. Some fun, interesting talks with cool musicians. So yeah, it's nice to have so many cool musicians around, living here and living elsewhere, who I get to play with and now who I get to chat with online. Um, it's really nice. I feel rich in my musical community, and I wish we could all get together, but it's starting to come back. Things are starting to come back. We're playing today at Casement's Bar, as I mentioned, on Mission Street at 3 o'clock, and we're playing. Allison and I will be playing tomorrow at Liberty's Bar on Guerrero Street. We're kind of making the Irish restaurant rounds here in the Mission District these days. Yeah, I think we should probably learn a couple of jigs for the Irish restaurants. But anyway, here, I'm going to try to find this Cello Joe video if I can. Um, but yes, I hope you guys will check out some of our shows. But, obviously there's so much stuff happening. Everybody's doing online shows. And even before the pandemic, everybody was doing their live shows, so it's really not that much different. So, but I'm very happy to have people who enjoy our shows who like to come out to them. Classical Revolution. We've been doing concerts since 2006 in the Mission District and elsewhere, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had so many great musicians, and audiences have been very responsive and appreciative of our musical activities. Is this thing on? I think it is. I'm just going to check Facebook if you guys can tell me if you can hear me. Do. All right, now there's sound. Thank you, Jonah. What's up, Jonah? You're cool. Hey, I'll be in Santa Cruz for a concert at the end of March. If you're still living in Santa Cruz, Jonah, I'll post that somewhere or the other. Okay, so hey, I'm going to take up the rest of this time here by playing a Cello Joe video. This is a GoPro video we were talking about a little bit. It's pretty cool. It's fun. Tackle a little Beethoven, a little Spring Sonata by Beethoven, or as some people say, Beethoven, a little Beethoven, and then a little Bartok, So that's gonna be fun. I've been a strict six in the Mission District and elsewhere, and it's been a lot of fun. We've had so many great musicians and audiences have been very. Responsive and appreciative of our musical activities. Is this thing on? I think it is. I'm just gonna check Facebook if you guys can tell me if you can hear me. All right, I think there is not sound on the Cello Joe video. Interesting challenges and whatnot, but what are you gonna do? Well, hey, It's been real. Try one more time. Let me try one more time. I'm gonna turn this thing off. Try one more time. Share the screen. Do this boom boom. Alright. And this guy is boom boom. Alright. Let's try one more time to play this Cello Joe.
Our next performer is Cello Joe.
There he goes.
My heart's racing a little bit before I'm supposed to start playing. It's kind of all just right on me.
The first song I'm going to play is called
I don't even know really how to get there. I remember riding around Boston and thinking, wouldn't it be so cool if I just planned a tour where I rode my bike from town to town, 10 miles, 20 miles at a time. And I just traveled with the cello and made music for people wherever I went. When I was a kid, I didn't really take the cello with me very much. And this company made a little speaker that was powered by a bicycle wheel when the back wheel was propped up. I never expected it to become popular or catch on. I just really liked being able to take music with me anywhere.
All right, you guys ready?
A lot of my friends were listening to hip-hop. They would say, check out this new Wu-Tang track I got. And one of us would start beatboxing, the others would start freestyling, and I had this epiphany of, what if I could beatbox and play the cello? I went and gave a workshop speech called Adventures in Bicycle Music Around the World. After doing that, I always felt like it was kind of a hobby until it wasn't. I was suddenly an artist. It really helps to get out in front of people. There's been a bunch of times when I've played for free in front of a small group of people. The whole idea of being anxious and nervous, like all that goes away, and then it just becomes like jamming, you're just playing some music for some people. But I do get butterflies getting up on that stage. I just tell myself, I'm Joey Chang, I go by Cello Joe.
None other.
I am just doing the same thing that I would do on the street.
My name is Joey Chang. I do go by Cello Joe. And I'm the wildest beatboxing cellist in the West. want to thank all the performers. Let's have a hand for all the performers that came out tonight.
All right, that was Cello Joe. And look who it is. It's Mr. Joe
What's up?
Lewis. Can you
How
hear me?
y'all? I can hear you
What
just
up,
fine.
what up?
You hunky dunky. Nice artwork in the background.
Yeah, yo, yo.
Are you in your house?
No, I'm at the studio. I'm at the studio.
Sick. So there's people out there in the universe. We're live.
There are people out there. Say hello. Yo,
What's up,
give it up for Joe Lewis coming to you from San Francisco. Are you in your house, Joe?
I am. Just finished
Nice.
teaching the
Okay,
future.
so tell us about your day.
Oh, well, I woke up, I got some coffee, took a walk, which is what I do every day, because I don't know if anyone else out there in the world can relate, but I'm battling depression, babies. And so first thing I do, I just get up, I brush my teeth, I go take a walk and get coffee. And so, yeah, I did that per usual. And then I taught the youth music, which was fantastic. And then I'm about to go have a rehearsal with some musicians who I play music with out at Ocean Beach. So we'll be nice and socially distanced, but we'll get to hear the lapping of the waves and all that jazz. So yeah.
I was hanging out with Fred Morgan the other day. He said you guys are playing together somewhere
We
tomorrow.
have a outside jazz gig tomorrow, which I can't wait. I mean, dude, we haven't played or hung. We hadn't hung for like 15 years until a few nights ago at your spot, bro. That was the best. I was so hungover, but it was worth it.
Yeah, it's always fun to hang out with Fred Morgan, and
He's
it's
the best.
yeah, and there's been several nights like that hanging out with Fred Morgan. What a guy! Hey, so let's talk. I have to go to a gig pretty soon here, Joe. But let's talk about what you have coming up. You have a song coming out.
Yes, I do, man. I have a single coming out Friday, March 5th on all of the places, all of the platforms. The single is called Open Your Heart. Oh, pardon me. Sorry, I'm all. So first of all, I go by Vox Tremolo. So if you ever see Vox Tremolo, VOXTREMOLO, that is my funky ass. And so my first single, Open Our Hearts, featuring Asati New, is coming out Friday, March 5th. And I'm excited, man. I have been a full-time sideman for 26 years and an in the closet, like home songwriter, like studio composer. But I initially started writing just so I would like not superimpose myself into other people's music in like the wrong way. But if we don't have time, we won't get too deep into all that. But I first started writing music just so that I could like calm that side of them. Like my saying is, why are you scratching your ass if your head itches? You know? And so, you know, but then over the last like 10 or so years, it's grown to a point where I have to start releasing it to the public and giving it its best shot to be its best, just so that it and I can continue growing. Like you can only do so much in your room without bouncing. Like I don't, especially music, like everything, it's like I view like the true success of how much it can function like with the rest of the world, you know? And so if I'm just being like a chicken and not like putting it out there, it just got to a point where that was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So yeah, man, I call it I'm on the quest of conquering Fear Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think many of us are facing different fears, you know, and so it's always a challenge. It's always a challenge, and I think now things, you know, with the pandemic, and a lot of people, as you said, are battling depression and are having a hard time financially and so forth, you know. So there's a lot of challenges, but I commend you, you know, on taking this.
When I'm not crying while masturbating, I make music. But
no,
yeah, no, we're gonna get back. We're all gonna get back, man. I just want to, like, you know, for me, I heard somebody say recently, which I really liked, is they were just like, basically like props to everyone who's out there quietly putting in the hours, like putting in the work. Because dude, it's so easy to forget like to not feel connected with anything when you're not in connection with anyone, you know? And so you're just like, you know, I've just been like working on getting better at writing, better recording, just playing my instrument, like shredding. And then sometimes I'm like, but there's no gigs, like what, you know, but it's like um
Yeah.
but yeah, and so
How do you find the motivation when there's no gigs?
dude, it's a
I think
personal
that's
thing.
hard for a lot of people. I know that's hard for me. You know, like if I don't have
Well, I
stuff coming up, you know, it's hard to get
I mean,
down
I
and
got dude. For
practice
me,
stuff.
the so sorry. I don't. I'm pardon me for cutting you off. But
No, no,
yeah,
no.
dude. For me, am I allowed to say shit?
You may say shit. Yeah.
Okay. So, dude, shit was crazy, man. So I was like
Yeah.
touring full time from like 2009, 10 ish till July of 2019, and like you know, by gigging it was like you know increasingly more and more, but like on like no less than 4 months to like 10 months out of the year for the last decade I was gone. And then my writing, which was my like little side passion, like kept growing and growing. And then basically I like it got to the point where I left the road July of 2019 and was like, oh man, like if I gave all everything that I have to give that I've given other artists, which I'll always do for the rest of my life, but if I invested that same amount of energy into myself, I would personally be in a better place, like at that day that I had that thought. And so then it was like, oh, okay, you know, and so I took this job teaching gig at the School of Rock in Berkeley, which has so been such a beautiful like connection through this pandemic to just like help be able to like help seeing these like kids like get turned into little badasses on their instruments, you know, has like been a huge like source of positivity in terms of reminding me like to answer the question like what keeps me like my head in the game, like that's like having a couple days a week like teaching has definitely been awesome. um
Yeah. I was
Dude,
talking
I
with.
lucked out.
Yeah.
Like it's like considering, dude, if I were just road dogging it when this corona happened, I would have been
Yes.
so shit out of luck, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
anyhow.
I've talked to a bunch of people who have been teaching, you know, during the pandemic, and you know, a lot of them have been having problems like using Zoom. You're one of the few who I've talked to who's actually like who's inspired by it and who's enjoying it.
Well, dude, your homie Benjamin, who I met, who shout out to Benjamin, dude, that guy is fucking awesome. But he's got like the mega Zoom hookup because he has such a high volume of students. And I mean, he's just like I think in general, like a more serious person than I am, or like, he's just better than I am. But for me, Zoom is super frustrating and there's huge limitations. But dude, I mean, I don't know about y'all out there, but that's a story of my life anyway, man. You know what I mean? It's like, what is, oh my God, it's not perfect. When am I going to complain? It's like, yeah, surprise, surprise. Um,
Yeah.
and so we've made it work. But dude, I mean, it's not, I can't wait for it to get better. And, you know, like for instance, about 2 months ago or less, I can't tell time anymore, but I lost one of my favorite students because not because of anything other than she's having Zoom fatigue
Uh
because
huh.
like it's her first year in high school, and so
Yeah.
her dad was telling me is like something like she's rocking like 250 hours of Zoom a month, which
Yeah.
is like so these things are like issues, but that's not like an issue with Zoom. That's just an issue with like fatigue within like
Yeah.
our human condition,
I
you know?
mean, yeah. I have friends who work for Zoom and who kind of developed the software, and they had to ramp up, you know,
Yeah,
so
I bet.
fast their volume. But it is very impressive software what they've been able to do, and they've been able to hold you know this volume of users. Everybody's using it. It's on TV. It's on you know ESPN. Everybody's using Zoom, from like you and I right here to your students to the politicians
Bro,
and
how
the
like,
White
dude, without
House.
Zoom, I don't know if I'd have been able to like earn a dime.
So shout
You know?
out to Zoom. they
Yeah,
they
shout out
created,
to
but
Zoom,
like you
dude.
know
Hey,
everyone's
Zoom,
using it. So
keep up the good work. Get better, dog. Yo, Doug, Zoom. Yo, Zoom. Definitely get better. I would love to be able to
Right.
play at the same time as people,
Yeah,
which I think that there's maybe like attachments and stuff. But I just wanted it to be.
yeah,
I want like if the average person could just click on and then play back and forth, like strive for that, Zoom dog.
We could try something. I did this project where we were on a software called Jamulus, and so we were playing live with each other with like very low latency. There's still a little bit. I don't think you can have zero latency, but it was
Sure,
like
of
it was
course.
very low. And we were watching each other on Zoom and listening to each other on this Jamulus software, and we could try that out. It seemed to work pretty well.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, I would like to know how. That's for sure.
we could check it out sometime. But hey, let's just do a little bit about your history, Joe Lewis. Where were you born?
Here in the Bay Area, in the South Bay,
Nice,
Mountain View, Cupertino, Sunnyvale. But then my
nice.
beautiful mother got busted for running an escort service in Mountain View.
Yes.
She's a single mom, and she
Okay.
went to jail for pimping and pandering. And
Yeah.
they made the newspaper, and they added our address, and so
Oh.
that got us moving, which landed me in the East
Yeah.
Bay, where I found
Yeah.
music. So like what was a bad thing, I look back and I'm like grateful for. Like I wouldn't
Yeah.
change it. Um,
Joe,
and then
Cello Joe is also from Mountain View. So you guys
oh,
have that.
cool, yeah, yeah,
Besides
yeah,
being
yeah.
Josephs, you're both from Mountain View.
Hey,
So
yeah.
shout out to Cello Joe. So
So
how'd you get
always,
started
always
playing?
a shout out to Cello Joe, man.
Yeah. How'd you get started playing music, Joe Lewis?
My godfather, Todd Urbanos, bought me my first bass for my 14th birthday. He sold a song to Al Jarreau, and the song was called "Wait for the Magic." And it was on his Tenderness album, which is a beautiful album. Like Steve Gadd's on drums and Marcus Miller's on bass. It's sick. And so he bought me I wanted to get into music because I was just I wanted to be a professional comic book artist before I found music. And so that was like all I did. Then I got my bass and I started taking bass lessons right away for like the first year. And it took about 6 months where I like it and I took to it, like I was learning like For Whom the Bell Tolls, Metallica, and like all this stuff. But then I don't remember exactly. Well, I remember when it hit me that music was going to be the only thing I was, my future, which is I was like maybe 15, maybe still 14, and probably still 14. And my friends and I were watching Metallica's Cliff 'Em All, which is a Metallica documentary focusing on Cliff Burton, their first
Yeah.
bassist who
Yeah.
died in the tour bus
Castro
accident.
Valley. Shout out.
And Cliff Burton is just an amazing beast of a musician, and
Yeah, yeah.
he was just like this train of fire and energy and sass, and it was like
Yeah.
super sexy. And it's hard to make heavy metal sexy, like really is. And I've never tried, but and it got to a point on the video where it was like 1986 or 87, Day on the Green, which is like a Bay Area festival, playing For Whom the Bell Tolls. And he's like up there, and he's just like shredding. And then that's when like it hit me. I was like, oh, like this, like bass, but also music. Like I was like, that can be my job. I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, like sign me up. And I just remembered like because I'm sensitive, and so I'll cry like easy. And I was just like holding back tears because none of my skater punk friends would understand why I was crying for Metallica, because
Yeah.
even if I tried to explain it, they'd be like, dude, you suck at bass. What are you talking about? Because I was only like a few months in.
Yeah.
But that's when it hit me. That's when I fell deeply in love with music. And I feel just as passionate about music today as ever. Like that's never waned.
Waned, yeah. It's never waned.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about how we met and Revolution Cafe. I think we met because you were on a Muni bus and you saw Jacob Johnson, my roommate,
Yeah.
with his upright bass on the Muni
Yeah,
bus.
I was actually going. It was like fucking 6, maybe super early in the morning, like 5:45 or 6:30.
We were busking at the BART station together. So
Yeah, super early.
he was either on his way or on his way back from the BART
He
station.
must have been on his way because it was
So,
so
like,
early.
He
And
was
so
there. He was there with his upright bass on a Muni bus.
Yeah, and so I was going to New York for my first time, which was the first time I ever took myself on a vacation.
Wow.
And I was heading to go. I was on the BART going to the airport
Uh-huh.
to go visit, to go stay with Greg Patillo and that whole like CAI crew. And yeah, exactly. I see that there's a dude with an upright bass, and it's like 5:45 or like
That
6.
was on the BART. I thought it was a Muni. It was the BART.
No, it was the BART for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And And so I just like went, well, like I always do. It's like, hey, I'm a bass player too. And then, yeah, we started talking. And then, yeah. And then, so I was just like slinging jazz gigs on the upright bass and doing, I had this gardening job for a while, which I really loved. That was for not music. Gardening was like, I dig it. And, but long story short, I was riding my bike home from a gardening gig. I got run over by a car on my bike and I broke my back in 3 places. And I like couldn't really fuck with the upright bass for a minute because I had like a walker, and then I graduated to a cane. And I remember when I could like walk faster than elderly people, and I was like, yeah, eat my dust. I was like so proud, like it was an accomplishment. And so at that point, I was like, the little money I had saved from working after my accident was like going away quick. And I needed, and so actually it was the first day I ever met Aaron Kerbel and Marcus Cohen at Dolores Park jamming. And then it was getting around like 5 and it started getting cold at Dolores Park. We didn't want to stop playing. Yeah. I'm like, oh, well, I know this place, Revolution, that we could probably play, because before the Revolution was the Revolution, it was Papa Toby's.
Yeah, and Terry Chastain was.
Yeah, Terry Chastain I've known since I was a teenager because I grew up playing jazz at Momi Toby's and other places in Hayes Valley. Street, And so, so basically, we went to the Reb to see if we could jam, but there was this like pretty mediocre country band playing, or they were like, never mind, I won't get into their quality, but basically, I think that Andre only booked them because the singer was super babe. And like would bring friends, but it wasn't like but either way, I'm an asshole. They're already booked. Right. Like, listen, I'm sorry, I stuck. Let me slap myself in the face.
Right. There was a country band playing there.
There was a country band playing there, and so we couldn't get in, and so we just went across the streets to where the City College was, but it was just a gravel and a chain fence.
I forget what it looked like back then. It was just like a gravel. And a fence.
Exactly. And
so you and Aaron Kerbel,
Marcus and we had like
percussion or something.
We had like met an old friend of mine, Hannah, who plays she plays in a bunch of like she played bass, I think, in Grass Widow, which is an awesome band with awesome people like Raven. All of them are amazing. But like, but she had her accordion, so we were like picking up musicians on our little caravan to the Rev. So there was just like a little motley crew of us. And back then at the Rev, you could drink on the street. So literally everyone at the Rev left with their drinks and started dancing with and partying with us across the street. And somebody told me, like, I guess Andre was like, oh, Joe Louis stole my customers. What should I do? And somebody was like, oh, you should probably offer him a job. So then he asked me if I wanted to work there, which I didn't. And I was just like, dude, because that place was a shit show back then. Like, it was just like a bunch of old like nastiness, like and so I'm like, dude, if I work here, I was like, can I at least book the music on the nights that I'm working so it can be cool? Nice. And he was basically probably like, oh, Joe Louis will work for free, sure. And then as we all know now, as long as you were not costing Andre money, he basically like let you do whatever the hell you wanted. Then the whole like booking music really blew up and was just a hit, like naturally. And I started taking over taking over all the days. And then Classical Revolution, which was originally on Sundays, that was the last day that I booked there because there was Tango Revolution. And
they were already playing before you started.
So Andre would only let me cancel an act if I brought something better, so like, and so I was like, in the Tango Revolution, like, all due respect, was just like a middle-aged dude pickup bar, all these Calistoga drinking non-tipping fools just wait, to like young mamas. They're like, oh, cool, free tango dance lessons, like it sounds really appealing. But then you'd show up and it would just be like all these like 55-year-old single dudes. Like, it was just not it was not a good scene at all. And so then I was like, oh man, and we already had like a bunch of jazz and a bunch of psych soul. And
I didn't know that origin story with Aaron Kerbel and Marcus Cohen, and you met them, and that's probably before they started playing with Rupa, or maybe around that time they started.
It was before, but not much before. That all was like all it
was all kind of.
It's all in the same like way
at the same time.
Like I feel like that was like if the Surfers on Wave, like
Yeah.
story I just told, that was at the beginning of the wave, and then like
Yes.
Rupa came into my reality, or like I met her like very like right in that same first half of the wave,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
then
Well,
so yeah, and then Classical
yeah.
Revolution,
Well, you
like
met Jacob, and so then you told Jacob about it,
so what
and
it was
so
is that I had like all I had we had all the best like my favorite jazz musicians in
yeah,
there. We had like Eastern European music, we had
yeah.
folk, um, and
Marcus
all this
Shelby,
different stuff. Marcus Shelby,
Luke
and
Westbrook.
I don't know. I think Shelby was maybe later.
Oh,
I can't, but yeah, I mean Luke Westbrook is like known that dude forever. I love that man. But
yeah,
and then it was like, oh, the only thing that we don't have is classical music. And I
yeah,
had like met Jacob, and then
yeah,
through there, some classical heads started hanging at the Rev, and
yeah.
so
And we
it
started
was like
hanging out after
it
that.
was like a real natural thought. But it was just like, oh man, like we have free live classical music for the people on a weekly consistent basis, like it will
Nice.
take over the world. And that was like my thought. And so I hit up Jacob, and I'm like, yo, and he was like, oh dude, I can't, I'm not the guy. He's like, it ain't me, babe. He didn't have the time, but he's like, oh, you should meet my homie Cherith. Like that sounds like the thing. And then that's where how you and I met, Big Papa.
Yeah, yeah. Then we started hanging out there. I thought it was the coolest thing that we could sit out at the cafe and really awesome jazz music, and it was always free. And but also it attracted such a cool crowd. It's like it was the bohemian. It was the center of all the artist scene, the musicians. Everybody
Yeah.
was hanging out there. It was the coolest place to be.
Oh,
And
there was a couple years where it was definitely like the hub because it was the hang, man. It was the
it was the
best
hang.
hang, dude.
Yeah, I think there's
Like,
many years it was like that, but it went through different phases. You know, first it was all the musicians and
yeah,
artists hanging out there.
that was the best
Yeah,
for
that
me
was the best.
because it was ours and it hadn't blown up yet. But I feel like the
Yeah.
turning point is like the first New York Times article with Classical Revolution. Like,
Oh,
not to say that that was it,
around that
even though
time.
I'm sure that brought awareness, but like around that time, it
Yeah,
it became like it had to like fortify into what it was going to become. Like
it was probably also around that time where Andre finally had to get the entertainment license and he had to close for a week or so. Or that was later.
yeah. I mean, dude, I have so many like different waves of memories from like
Yeah.
love to hatred to like everything. It's like, yeah, I guess all. And I also like, for lack of a better thing, I haven't like. I remember when I first left the Rev, I would like turn every conversation would turn into like me griping about some bullshit at the Rev, and then and I was like dawned on me, and I already know I'm annoying, but like I was like, oh, this is like super annoying, and
Yeah.
and now it's nice. But there was a moment in time where I'm like, am I ever like gonna be able to like I had so much like post traumatic stress from
Yeah.
my last time there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and but
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If you
I say
realize,
bless
if you realize
everything that
things
made
were,
that place, all the elements, good and bad, that made that space special when it was like bless it all.
yeah.
Yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah. Man.
Where's your gig?
Yeah, I gotta get. This could be a 3-hour Joe Rogan conversation right now, but I do have to get to a gig in an hour or so, and I have to set
Yeah,
up the
where's your
sound.
gig at Casements?
We're playing Casements, yeah. Electra and Mauro and some other people. Come by, I'll buy you a beer.
Word, I'm getting picked up. I have a rehearsal at Ocean Beach.
Oh, right on.
Till probably like 6:30 or so.
All right,
But
I'll be
I'll
around
text you
tonight.
after.
Okay, all right. Let's say goodbye. Hey, give it up for Joe Lewis.
Hey everybody, if anyone, I hope
Right.
if anyone's listening, I hope you're not bored, or
Yeah, they're probably bored.
I hope you
Uh,
have a smile on your face.
Nice. Hey, let's do a part 2 maybe after your single comes out and we're getting ready to
Oh yeah,
talk
March
some other
5th.
stuff.
Open Our
Yes.
Hearts,
That's
Vox
that's
Tremolo.
that's
featuring
next
Vox
Friday.
Tremolo.
It's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
on YouTube or where's it going to be released?
All of the
Spotify.
things. Spotify, Bandcamp,
Yeah.
Apple. I did like DistroKid, which distributes it to most of the stuff.
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
If,
and
if
I'll
you
get
go to
better.
if people go to Bandcamp, they can buy the single if they want to support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, let's plug Bandcamp. Everyone go to Bandcamp. Check out
Yeah,
Vox
go to Bandcamp,
Tremolo.
and if you like it, please download it because I just want to. I'm just gonna put that money into my next studio session.
Nice.
I have this year I'm dropping a couple bombs. I'm stoked. I'm
Right.
flexing out this
Nice.
year, releasing music. I'm excited. Yeah. All right, bro.
It's
I
gonna
love
be
you, dog.
it's gonna be the year of Joe. All right, thank you, Joe Lewis, for joining
Yeah.
us, and thank you so much for Cello Joe also for joining us. We'll be back next
Big love,
week.
Cello
Actually,
Joe.
Benjamin Gribble, who you talked to, Joe, he's going to be my guest next week with Allison Lovejoy.
Oh, dude, yeah. Dude, Ben's the biggest dude. That
They're
guy's
going to
great.
talk about teaching music and about the conservatory and about flower piano and about being a rock star pianist and stuff like that. So
Yeah, dude.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Nice.
We should have
All
like
right.
a trademark Cherith like out call, like nice.
Well, I was saying like Ibowan, which is how you say it as a greeting in Sri Lanka. You say Ibowan, Namaste. Nice.
Come on, namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, Ibowan. All right, Joe Lewis. High five.
High five. As I give you
You
10.
do that on YouTube. You go like, okay. All right, peace out. We'll see you next week. Actually, come back in an hour and we'll be live at Casements. I'm gonna put it on YouTube and Facebook. Later, y'all.
Hasta la pasta.
Hasta la pasta. Hold up a second, Joe. I'm gonna stop the streaming.